Honorable mentions: Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory, Coach Carter, 3:10 to Yuma, August Rush, Spirited Away, The Jungle Book, the cartoon version, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, Real Steel, and Spider-Man 2. Those are all movies I wanted to get on this list. They didn't make the cut, unfortunately, but I still love each one of those movies. My number 34, Lethal Weapon, 1987. Number 33, Pokemon, the first movie, 1998. Yes, that's on the list. Number 32, Mamma Mia, 2008, the first musical I have on the list. Number 31, X2, X-Men 2, 2003. Greatest opening scene in maybe superhero history with Nightcrawler. Such a good scene. Number 30, another one. Yes, it's on the list. Power Rangers, the movie, 1995. Love that movie. We get animated Disney movie Hercules, 1997 is number 29. Number 28, we're going to get the musical version of it later this year, but the 1985 version of The Color Purple. Number 27, the first Christmas movie that was on this list, Die Hard, 1988. Number 26, The Producers, another great musical and also a comedy. Number 25, Toy Story 3. Fantastic movie, and I said on here earlier, if my son didn't like this movie, and if he tells me in the future he don't like this movie, I'm getting rid of him. I'm not really. That is a joke. Number 24, The Suicide Squad. I replaced Man of Steel on this list for The Suicide Squad. Don't know why, but I did it because at the moment, that's what I feel like is my favorite DCEU movie, so it made the list. Number 23, one of my favorite all-time Christmas movies, Jingle All the Way. And I've even got Turbo Man here saying he agrees. Number 22, another great musical with great performances, and that is Rent. Number 21, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Love the mixture of live action and animation in that one. Number 20, The Fabelmans, my favorite movie of last year, and number 20 on my list of all time. Number 19, a classic, The Breakfast Club. John Bender, one of the greatest characters that's ever been in movies. Number 18, The Dark Knight. Fantastic portrayal of Batman. Fantastic portrayal of the Joker by Heath Ledger. And to me, the best performance of the movie, Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. Number 17, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Really showing what a young Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, and even Christopher Lloyd could do in a movie in 1975. Number 16, one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies, The Truman Show, 1998. Love this movie. I think it's fantastic. Number 15, The Batman. That's right, two Batmans on this list. And this one is from 2022. It's the Robert Pattinson version. I loved it. I love Paul Dano as the Riddler. Really worked for me. I wish I could have included Batman Forever on this list too, because I actually think Val Kilmer's Batman is one of the best Batmans, and I love Jim Carrey's Riddler. But it didn't quite make the list because I already had two Batmans on this list. Number 14, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986. Still one of the great skipping school movies and one of the best Matthew Broderick's ever done, even early in his career. Number 13, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I know this one just came out this year. The poster's right behind me. But I can't help it. This is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, and because of that, I had to include it on this list, especially since I had to leave off Spider-Man 2. And this one, even though it may be recency bias and it may change by next year, right now I've got it number 13 on my favorite movies all time. Number 14. I already did 14. Why did it move my stuff around? Okay, number 12, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. My favorite of the franchise, one of the most award-winning movies in history, and 17 fantastic endings. Number 11, The Greatest Showman. One of my favorite musicals all time. Getting to see Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman play off of each other was fantastic. Zendaya did great in this movie. Overall, some of the best music you'll ever hear in a musical. Number 10, my favorite Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man. Yes, that's a surprise to a lot of people, but to me, it's some of the best he's done because it doesn't only show his comedic genius, but we get to see the comedy mixed with some real drama throughout this movie and him dealing with some personal struggles. And I really enjoyed that aspect of hearing and watching that movie. Number 9, the movie I've watched more times in theaters than any other movie because I had Movie Pass at that time back when it was a ridiculous thing. And that's Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg, based on the book, and one of my favorite movies all time. A lot of fun. Number 8, one of my favorite directors, maybe my favorite director, Taika Waititi directed Jojo Rabbit. Great, fantastic film with some tremendous actors and a great story. Someone mentioned earlier, it's got the comedy toward a lot of the beginning of the movie. We get to see some of the back and forth on the Jews and the Nazis or the Germans and the differences they think of each other and that kind of thing. But then it gets really dark and deep as it gets further into the movie, and it really worked for me. Number 7, I had to get one of these on the list: Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is my favorite of the Harry Potter film franchise, as well as my favorite of the books. I thought they did a great job converting the book to the movie in this one. Number 5, the one most of you probably thought would have been my highest MCU film on this list, but it wasn't, and that was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This was my favorite MCU film for a very long time, and it's still my second favorite. I love this movie. I love what they did with this movie and how it was ground level, but it was also fantastical and espionage. Like all the things they did with this was just things I didn't think they could do in a superhero movie, and they did it. Number 4, here's the Star Wars film, Empire Strikes Back. My favorite of these films. It's our first introduction to Yoda, who's my favorite Star Wars character, so I had to include this one for even if that's not my only reason, that was a reason. And then you get a great fight with Luke and Vader toward the end. Luke loses his hand, and we find out Vader is his father. Fantastic storytelling in cinema history. Number 3, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, my favorite superhero movie of all time. To this day, I can't tell you why it resonates so well with me, but I love the action in this. I love the story. I love the villain. I love the fantasy aspects. I love the martial arts. Everything about this together makes a movie that to me seems like a jumbled mess that shouldn't work, but somehow it does. And because of that, that's my number 3 all-time favorite movie. Number 2, one of the funniest movies, if not the funniest movie of all time, but definitely the most quotable, Anchorman. And then number 1, I already said it, Oh Captain, My Captain, Dead Poets Society, my favorite film that I've ever watched. And I don't see that coming off the top of my list anytime soon, but I could be wrong. All right. And that was my breakdown of all 34 of my favorite movies all time, as well as the honorable mentions. Thank you for joining me for that. Now